my personal view on reflection is I think we're in the wrong market. I think the financial market is going to be very, very difficult to secure.
I think
at the
you
moment,
asked the right questions.
because of the COVID-19, because of the procurement runs. So I think it's other sectors. So if we can find someone that takes you away from constantly being and focusing on the financial market, I think you'll win. But it's definitely going to take longer in the financial markets. So, you know, what was quite good about him is he was talking about that. He was talking about agencies. He was talking about, you know, people that, you know, want to keep retainers with their clients. So that actually is a good sector. If he's got leads into that and we can do quick kills on it, it's good. The other thing is the facts check. Now, the problem is the guy you're aligning with is about to go bust. So, you know, he would be a good person to partner with for sure, but will he live long enough? That's the problem.
No, you got it. You got it exactly right. I think, you know, I think for sure, if you keep these two conversations separately, I think, you know, yes, for sure. I think, you know, yeah, I get your idea that we don't need to definitely focus on the financial services for sure. I think, you know, we need to open our wings. Yeah. That means e-commerce.
I say that not in a way to be Captain Doom. I'm just
no, I agree. I agree.
Just looks at, every time I look at it, it's just so. Without doubt, once you get a foothold in it, like Giro or Gyro, I can never pronounce it properly. Then obviously you become a preferred supplier, and the world is your oyster. You know, you're home and dry. It's just getting, you know, signed up, and it's a long process in a bank. That's the problem. Yeah.
No, I agree. No, you're absolutely right. I think there's every reason for why you're saying that. I think it's obviously for our best interest, right? I totally agree. And I think what I'm really looking at is for sure, you know what, I also pivoted, if you notice that, you know what, we're talking to fashion company, remember, and also we're talking to insurance company, we're also talking to another company, which is not financial, because I am very aware of that. But of course, you know, of course, there's money in there.
Yeah, but the other point he made, Raj, actually, which I thought was really good, is he said, you know, he talked about the fact that there are other people in the sector that are doing this with sentiment in this area, and the facts check is the thing that gives you a unique position. What I think you should do, I know what you could possibly waste your time doing, is trying to align this guy who's in trouble to come into the business, and then he'll go. Maybe you've got to find a partner that does fact checks. I mean, I have to say, one of the most riveting conversations I've had in the last year on Hayek's was Blackbird AI. That to me was unbelievable, because that was the combination of Blackbird AI and you would be a phenomenal product.
Yes, of course.
That would be a must-have product, not a nice-to-have product.
And also, Neil, you know, just sorry to interrupt there, because compared to Blackbird, whatever this guy have done, it's actually completely different, completely innovative even, because it's not only fact-checking information, they're also looking at narratives, which means that, you know what, if an example, COVID-19 or vaccine something is there, they actually look at all the places where this topic is being talked about, right? And this is not just about rumor detection. Basically, they have built a very good, that's what I'm really, my instinct says, you know, whatever this guy's...
I misled you with what I was saying, though. I wasn't saying, what really excited me about that was basically going to source of where the information comes. You were on the call, you remember the call. And if this is facts checking and it goes to all those places, that's terrific. But the trouble is, Raj, I think if you're not careful, you're going to go, this is going to go nowhere, because he's in such trouble. I don't see how he gets out of it. And what may happen to him is, rather than going to voluntary liquidation, he might be forced into liquidation, which means you've got no control over it. If you go into voluntary liquidation, you know, you could get some money together, 10, 20, 30 grand, and buy the software off of it.
Intellectual property.
Yeah, but he doesn't sound to me that he's got enough business savvy to know how to go into voluntary liquidation.
I think the problem, I think, you know, I mean, at least the key aspect is like, with Stuart also can open up the eyes that, you know, about the fact checking. I already talked to him before. I think that is definitely gives us a unique position, you know, because obviously you can think that, you know what, I'm a little bit more in the product, but at least, you know, people outside the business are also talking about it, right? And I think, you know, that's where I'm kind of have my instinct that, you know what, there could be something done with this person.
No, I think your instinct is 100% right. It's absolutely essential, because it gives a gravitas to a live call, yeah? Because when you did this a year ago, things have moved on. And we know why with Donald Trump and goodness knows what else, why fact checking is so important. So it's right. The question is, who do you partner with? Because if you could have that partner tied up now, you still there, Rod?
Yeah, I'm hearing it.
Okay.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. If you could have that partnership all lined up now, boom, that will give you more power. And then this guy could take you to all the agencies. Within a blink of an eye, you'd have 5 or 6 people clambering for your £38,000, paying you £38,000 to have you on their platform.
Yes, yeah? yes, I agree. And also this agency, this
but
company.
You haven't got that. That's the problem. We're not there. So what I'm saying is, let's agree that the facts checking is critical. Who else can you partner with? Because I don't think he's going to make it.
No, there are 2 options still. I think, obviously you and me knows about this, right? There is some information we've been already doing on this, because on the information, right? We already have built some things on it, right? It's not that we need to do it from scratch. But for us to get from where we are right now to get it like MVP stage, it may take at least, with the speed what we can do. If you want to, we can do 2-3 months again, right? But what I would like to do is like we can take advantage.
You're doing that with Oris. Is Oris working on facts checking?
Because not necessarily fully, but actually he's working on looking at some literature. Also, we've got one other University of Manchester, right? These guys have built some.
But that I think it's just I'm just going to be clear in my own mind. That's not to do with this. It's not to do with this bid that you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah. So that actually, the whole bid.
Just be careful there, Raji, because Raji, what we're going to be careful for. It's great. I love the conversation. It's the right thing to be doing. If February it all aligns itself and it all comes through, then wow, then we're really going, because A, you've got enough money to live, and then secondly, you're going to have a product that's going to be really powerful. The issue is you need to move fast, because a year ago you're an originator in the sentiment of unstructured data. And now that's not enough. You've got to have a facts check behind it. You with me?
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas if this guy has got a product there that he's spent £3 million doing it, and I have no doubt he's brilliant, and I have absolutely no doubt he's got a good product. What I'm saying is, if you could buy that and just put it into your business, then you would really start to rip.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Exactly, I'm with you, because we don't want it to do it from scratch now. We have at least a 3 months of lead time, or maybe 6 months of lead time. If you want to integrate with him. But obviously the things we need, you talked about to me, that we need to get hands on the intellectual property. Everything else is not necessary for us, right? Because the equity, revenue share,
absolutely right. So if he was, so that comes back to the point here. Is if he goes into voluntary liquidation, you could agree a price on the intellectual property that you buy with the company going down into voluntary liquidation. And the way that works is the liquidator comes in and then tries to get as much value from the assets of the company to pay to the creditors. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all structured, but you can go in on a bid and buy it, but it's all proper. What may happen is he may be forced to close because someone will put a court writ on him because he's owed money. He owes them money. And then that will be forced into liquidation. Yeah.
Yes.
Then he's completely out of control of everything.
And which means that he doesn't control anything. And obviously, who is the highest bidder, they will get it, isn't it?
Yeah, correct. All of that.
And
to some extent, in a voluntary situation, it's the same. But you might be able to do a pre-deal going in, and I've been there. I've done all this stuff before. So that is that's so. Just to give you a thing on that. So for me, I think that the likelihood of you getting hold of it for not a lot of money could be a problem, because remember, there are people that have invested 3 million whatever. They will want to know what's happening to that. And also, if they're rich guys and they think his product is good, they may well buy the product itself and let his company go down. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So I think the likelihood of Hayek's getting that is slim. If he was in a strong position, I would say go gung-ho on a deal, do a deal, and put your 2 products together and go out into the market. And then you've got a great chance bringing this guy in to go and sell it, because he made it clear in the meeting, and I agree with him 100%, the facts check is the unique bit. That's the bit that makes it unique.
Yes, we kind of both know that kind of stuff as well, right? That we need to get that. I think in that aspect, I think there are fundamental issues for this guy is right now. He's a director, Neil. As you said, he's only the director. I asked a question yesterday about this friend of mine, basically, we're looking at, right? he's got investors. The two big guys put a 1 million one guy, 500,000 one guy. Mark Cuban, you can look it up. His internet. He's a kind of a very what you call like a Trump kind of thing, right? Very aggressive billionaire, right?
Yeah.
And basically, but I asked him, are they guys are these guys giving any help or advice to you? They said, you know what? No, they park the money and that's it. They don't really care. And of course, they don't want it to lose their money, which is of course is important for them. And obviously, he's got also many other people, like 40 people put 10K, 20K, 30K, whatever it is. And what he wanted to genuinely do is that give the money back for them, but he cannot able to give it, right? And one option for him he's considering is that someone buy the company in a different shape or form, not in cash, in options or shares or anything. That way, at least, that business can be part of the main company, like, in the, whichever company they buy in. That's also an option what he's considering. That way, he doesn't want it to be bad in front of those investors who trusted him. And, he can still be like underdog or something in other company, right? He may not get a priority to do anything because obviously if someone else buys like big company, you know what, they will not do. They'll treat him as an employee. That's it, right? And that's it.
Yeah, but that's an inevitability for everyone, to be honest with you, because as you sell out and as you grow and as more investors come in, you're diluted, and then of course you move from an owner, which is often why entrepreneurs find it difficult to remain in companies as they expand. It's better for them to go off and do something else and take the money. So that's why that is. But where you are now in your position at this moment in time with a live call, what I think we've got to look at very, very sharply is other markets, other sectors, because I think keep on progressing in the way that you are trying to get the sales in, but it's possible as well, Raj. It's the time of year. I mean, I said it, and, sort of got slightly slapped down on it, but there's nothing you can do at this time of year. You've got a lockdown in front of you now, so everybody's not communicating in the same way as they were before, and so it's a little bit tricky to get any revenue coming through until April, May of next year, because it will take time. And the financial service market is tough. So by talking to this guy, your instincts are good. We need to go into new markets, and we need someone who's an out-and-out sales guy there doing it. Because I think what Murray's good at sales process. He's not necessarily a salesman. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Chris is a salesman, but he's doing many other things, and he's got his own company that does sales. So but they're a good team if you have them 100% on your side all day long. Yeah,
I agree.
So the problem you've got is yourself. You're the only seller there doing it, and you're doing your best. And all I'm saying is don't get disheartened, because obviously it's not a great time of year and so on and so forth. But the facts check thing, which would definitely add more oomph to the live call, the sources that these things come from, is good. And what I'm trying to say to you is forget the product. What I would do conceptually is forget this project with your friend. Forget what it might happen. Forget how it could be great for your product. Just forget it, because I don't see how it's going to work. But look for partners that have got very similar products to him that can come in and add a credibility on the facts checking. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's a very long window to acquire those kind of people, right? Yeah, because like those kind of partners to acquire, again, it's a long window for us to get back to those people, and again, different terms and conditions with them, right?
No, I understand that, but I think that will be faster than going with this. I think this will end in disaster.
Yeah. You feel that? You feel
the only thing that will save this company if someone puts another 4 million quid into it, or whatever it may be. He'll be diluted to nothing, and if they do put that 4 million quid in, he will be definitely taken out of the game, because he hasn't managed it well enough, because he hasn't looked at his market. He's only looked at his product. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Some facts I need to tell you, Neil. Yesterday, I think these are news also for me as well. Yesterday, right? So currently, the business is running on a 80,000 pounds debt, right? Which is okay. I've asked him, but at least can you go back and negotiate with those people that you're not in a position to pay 80K, whatever the amount it is, like 20K or 30K, just tell them, what, if you're okay, and also give a timeline. That way, at least worry you have that, what worry to pay about these guys, obviously they might do anything, whatever for you, right? Do that first. So on a friendly note, obviously the business is going down. I already paid you lots of money. I don't have any money. Just talk to them, right? and get whatever it is, agree 50% down or something, and give a timeline, 6 months or 1 year, you pay them, however it is.
Yeah,
So,
the key to that route is you're right, and it's absolutely the right strategy, and it's smart strategy. But the issue is when you go and say, look, fella, I owe you £20,000, I haven't got it at the moment. What he will be looking for is something, so he'll be looking for £1,000, or he'll be looking for £500, because he has to do that in order to protect his position. If he hasn't got any cash he needs, with the 80,000, he'll probably need 5 to 10,000. He'd probably get away with 5,000 quid, but he needs to give all of them equally something, yeah, and then they'll go off his back, yeah.
I agree. I think otherwise that's.
And if he hasn't got anything, then he's in trouble. Yeah, he should have done this 6 months ago or 3 months ago.
I completely agree with you, because obviously that's the wrong thing what he has done, because obviously you should have done that 6 months ago when the money is running down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And not the last minute when he has 2,000. I've given a good advice for him. Sort that out first, and at least that's the biggest worry you have. Then also the next thing what he has is like, Neil, there is he's getting 200K for the R&D tax credit from the government, as well as 200K from Innovate UK. Yeah. But he cannot able to run.
Is that money coming back into his business?
Yes. So basically,
he's got to have a certain amount of cash in order for that to happen.
Correct. So basically, for R&D credit, he's expecting that in January or some kind of stuff, which is kind of a little bit late. But also,
he can limp to that for sure. If he's got 200,000 coming in January,
that's what I mean.
It's easy to hold off, because all you do then is you go and talk to your suppliers, say, I've got a late payment that's due in January. I can't pay you at all until at least January the 30th. And I will give you a report back in the meantime. And they won't take him to court at the moment. And the courts aren't interested, because everybody's in trouble at the moment.
Busy, of course. I think it's not that bad, Neil. If you look at it, basically there's money coming in for him, and also there's
innovative. Well, I'm not sure there is, because I don't understand, and maybe I didn't listen carefully enough. What you said to me is he's got this grant coming in for £200,000 in January, but he's got to show that he's got money in the bank for the money to be released. Am I right in that or not?
Yes, I think that's the second. The first aspect is R&D tax credit, which means the money already spent in the business, the government will pay you back based on R&D.
Oh, they'll pay it back. So that's money that will guarantee come back into his account.
Yes, I have to, because obviously I'm not in the business, right? I think he mentioned to me that I need to get the terms and conditions. But I think
if you're saying that it's a tax rebate,
yes.
It's language, but if it's a tax rebate,
yeah,
then and it's guaranteed, the government will pay on the nail. The government always pays on the nail.
Correct.
So if it's due to come in on the 13th, and it's approved and they've agreed it, and it's all been, and it's an R&D tax rebate. It could be a credit, but let's call it a rebate.
Yeah.
Because a credit usually is that they don't you don't have to pay tax, so that's good for you.
It's coming back.
They're giving you money back into your bank account. He gets £200,000 in January, then that's a different thing altogether.
Yes, I think he's expecting that
cash will limp him through.
Yes, exactly right, and also he's getting that for sure. I think that's what he mentioned. And also, I've seen how this works, the tax credit.
You need to clarify that.
Yes,
that is a really important piece of information.
Yes, and the other thing what you mentioned is about the third bag, which is important one, about the Innovate UK grant, and which is he's getting 200K of the money, which will be for 9 months. They don't pay you in the beginning of the.
But again, is that but for that one, he's got to that's the one that he's got to approve or prove that he has cash in the bank. Yes?
Correct. So basically, for that one,
so what he needs is his sequence of events are as follows. He gets the tax credit in January. He shows them that he's got £200,000 in his bank, and then they release money on an incremental way going forward. So in effect, he's got access to 400,000.
Correct. The problem is that the Innovate UK grant has to start in December 1st. And also, obviously, yes, I'll give it, he told me this as well, I think December 1st, which is not too far away. And I don't think he need to show the 200K in the account, because obviously the Innovate UK, they will only give the money in tranches each month when you deliver the work. Maybe 50K, 20K each month, maybe for the next 9 months example. That's how it is. And he doesn't know how these rules are applied. This is where Tassos can able to explain. I'll ask him, because he done that before, right? And irrespective of that, he doesn't have the money even to show 20K, because he's only got 2K in the bank account, right? And he told me that he actually approached a lending company who actually can give 80% of the money on the future money coming in, which is the Innovate UK, as well as a tax credit. I think that is also in works, which means that he is not that bad at, as it looks like. Maybe he will take a 2.5% interest or something like that, and whatever it is, basically that will give him a survival line, right?
Yeah.
And again, that's a loan.
All right. Well, okay. So what you're saying is he's got a chance to limping through. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In which case, then the question for you then is you need to tie him up with the facts check, and can he do it?
Mm-hmm.
Because actually, forget any of the IP and equity and all that sort of stuff. That's too complicated. You need his product to sell. Yeah.
With us, yeah.
To sell a live call.
Which means the right to use the product, basically, right? That's exactly what we need to get the product integrated to ours.
He's going to have to, you're going to have to update your pitch deck. You're going to have to update your selling techniques. You know, there's a whole ton of stuff that you're going to have to do in order to bring that in line. And then again, you're starting from scratch again. No,
it's not that neat. If you look at it fundamentally, I think it's just like, obviously, this is in my mind already. Kind of, I've been talking about, obviously not everyone, but even I know that. But I think, obviously it's an extra filter. Basically, however, all I've called is that I would call as an extra credibility filter that, what you can filter what news you wanted, and you have credibility checks, I think, that kind of thing. But I wouldn't.
So what I think the problem is, I think you're brilliant, absolutely brilliant at ideas, and your instincts are right, and all of that. Where the business is really going to be tested is sales, and how we close deals and how we get cash coming in a sort of quiet sort of way. I'm rather hoping that if we're able to put together a shit hot thing for Metitude, and we can then raise that money, and you've got £600,000 going through the business, then that will take the pressure off for you to have time to build these things. But if that doesn't come off, then early next year you're going to be in a very similar position to him, where you're going to have to look for more investment from family and friends to keep yourself going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've just got to be careful that we don't over intellectualize and not get out there and get cash in. That's the reason I'm like that, and the reason Chris is like that, and the reason Murray's like that. And Deepak today, I mean, he said it there, possibly for you. He said, "Cash is cash. Everything's cash." Yeah. So that's what we've got to get to. So listen, follow your instincts, do all that stuff. You can't waste any time. You're making yourself believe that this guy is going to pull it off and get the 400,000 and keep going, and his product's okay because of the two things that you've talked about. Be careful that he's not being a wishful thinker. He's not an experienced business guy.
Yes.
He's not been around. He's not exited. He's not gone bust. Any of those things, although he's not far off going bust. And just be careful that you don't get waylaid or misled by optimism that is misplaced. Yeah. That's all. That's my only advice to you on it.
No, I agree. I think at least you see that some of the things are pushing upward on that kind of thing, right? Which is really good. Yeah. And all I need to say.
Also, you've got to bring that product in, and you've got to if you can see an angle on it, then you've got to go back to all of your leads and say, I've got this new product that I'm adding to it, makes a difference. Then they'll say to you, well, could you prove it to me? And then you've got to show them how it works on the dashboard. But in the meantime, you've got to find a way of synergizing those two products so that they come up on the thing. So you've got a lot of work to be doing to get those two products together.
Now, of course, on the technical side, for sure, I have to do due diligence. I'm not saying that, okay, it's just like fundamentally, let's go ahead or something like that, for sure. Yeah. And I think, with a small amount of basically my time, for sure, I'm very conscious. And also maybe we have the two other interns we have, right? So they can able to look at the technology, whatever it is, while keeping ours busy there.
Are they doing it to get experience?
No, actually, one of the guys, we just I'm paying him very little amount in Indian currency, right? I think maybe I'm still testing them, right? Basically, whether they're capable or not. Sure. And there's one guy actually in the UK who's expecting something. Maybe I'll have to start looking at, but at the same time, I'm not committing anything because it's tough, right? So what I'm looking at is that he's definitely in a desperate position. Someone will grab him. In the sense maybe any other company, maybe at a very cheap price, right? But he doesn't want to have that because obviously he wanted to run the business, like at least with the signals what you mentioned. If you can able to support him in the next couple of months with a small amount of our time, then at least we have access to use the technology, like to use it, and which is what we wanted, right, for free. And also, if you get hands-on intellectual property, because we'll be developing something for him to make it ready to use, because currently the product as it stands now, it is not manageable. In the sense like it will run, but if a customer use it, there will be bugs, there will be maintenance things, there is no one to support, right? And it's like anything else. And that is the piece where I would like to ask, I mean, I kind of mentioned to him that, we need to talk about intellectual property, how it looks like. If you get
I think I wouldn't even worry about that one, because I just think it's in such a weak position, and he's burned 3 million quid, and 400,000, 80 of that's already gone. So that's leaving him with 320 to get it to another level. And is he capable of cutting the costs and doing stuff? No. Has he got a DPAC behind him saying, your cash is running out, and so on and so forth? It doesn't sound like it. So whilst I think it's a great product, I would go forward with caution on it all. That's what I would say.
Okay,
but
sure.
Anyway, listen. Your instincts are right. You've done well to find that. The guy that we saw today, he's interesting. Whether he'll deliver or not, I don't know. See what he comes back with. But it was important for him to understand the key areas. It was important to get across that we're much more focused on not paying him money, but on reward. All that sort of stuff. What he seems to be very keen on is the facts checking. So actually, the bit you're trying to put in place is actually what he thinks is unique now, because the world has moved on, 10 months, a year later. So you've got to do those things. But I would still really get you to focus on where the real money's coming from. So certainly Metitude could be a fantastic product. It may be nothing, but it could be a good product. I've set a meeting up tomorrow at 10 o'clock to go through with Mike and Charlotte.
I'm joining in, yeah.
And Patrick. Charlotte just sent me an email while I was on WhatsApp, just to say that she can't come in until 10:40 tomorrow. I don't know what you're doing tomorrow, but if you could give us half an hour of your time to go through all those costs.
Of course, Lynn. Yeah, I accepted it already.
Also, by the way, I had a really long conversation with Mike on IP, and as always, it will become complicated because of what they have to do is they have to protect the investors to make sure that in a sale that the investors don't lose out or it becomes a block in selling the company. And the IP will be a big discussion, yeah? But also, what's great is it's challenging us because we want IP, because that's the way forward. And I can tell you now, in the design industry, I've tried to get IP years and years. I've tried it in big corporations, I've tried to do it, whatever. Bottom line is it's bloody difficult, because what people like doing is paying you and then taking the money. But for you, just so you understand the agreement, is I've said, look, in a normal market with another company, not Hiax, the fee will be close to 2 million quid, okay, to build the platform and everything else. What we're doing, because we're a solo enterprise